If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1. If you have a piece of crack cocaine no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1. We passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've gone from there all the way up to saying, under the leadership of Senator Thurmond, and I'd like to suggest that I take some small credit for it myself as well, and others, the presiding officer, that there is now a death penalty. And we passed it a couple years ago. If you are a major drug dealer involved in the trafficking of drugs and murder results in your activities, you go to death.
Back in that time, just imagine a neighborhood more peaceful than it is right now. A lot of people was not on controlled substances, and when you look up the reports on who put the crack in the neighborhood, why it was put in the neighborhood and everything, you will see that when the Black Panthers was how they was disbanded, you will see that they put crack in the neighborhood, and our people didn't go out there and get that crack from airplanes and all that. That was put in the neighborhood. If you was a youth, if you leave a youth to their own devices without adult supervision, then what you expect? So we had elders in the neighborhood that was rallying together to try to stop all this stuff that was going on. But we had also people in the neighborhood that was infiltrating the neighborhood. So Joe Biden passing that 94 crime bill, that really didn't help our people. Even during the time of the 90s, before I would go to school, I would hear President Clinton saying how he was trying to get all the guns off the street that they put on the street. So those illegal guns that people keep talking about, think about that right there. That he was saying that I believe he was saying it was gonna pay people to bring them guns in, and they wanted you to get you a gun that's registered. So when you look at a lot of these things that's going on, you can always point back to the people that put it in there. Now I know a lot of us say, well, we need to clean up the neighborhood. We need to clean it up. You're right. We need to be leaders. But look at this right here. Are they not adults as well? So we was little children going through this right here. This is something that was passed down for us to try to fix and deal with. I believe that they should pay for all of the harm that they caused while we was growing up as children. And when you have controlled substances, they say that a person is impaired and not in their right mind. Shalom to the hearers and the keepers of the word of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Food for thought.
Hunter Biden was convicted of possessing a firearm while addicted to or using illegal drugs. He also pleaded guilty to tax crimes related to money that he has since repaid. The announcement came a day after the Bidens wrapped their annual Thanksgiving trip to Nantucket. The president and Hunter were both seen together at a bookstore on Friday. Presidential historian and BU professor Tom Whalen, though, questions the president's decision to reverse course on this issue.
No one is above the law. We've heard that repeatedly during this campaign season. And now it seems like he's put his thumb on the justice scales. That just doesn't ring right with me, and I think a lot of other political observers.
Whalen says that he thinks this pardon shows a deterioration of the rule of law and the weight that it holds in our society. But he also says he doesn't believe that Biden's decision to pardon his son will impact the president's legacy or how he is viewed in the future.
All right, fam. So y'all see how that whole thing had came on out with that situation. And so that's why a lot of us really don't like, it's hard for us to trust people. Now I put up an expression up here. You know, when all back, I think um, that's all a lot of these people was worried about was money. And the scriptures say the love of money is the root of all evil. So if you love money, it's the root of all evil. That should go back to that scripture what Messiah said. He who love mother and father is not worthy of me. Then you go back to that scripture and say, the love of money is the root of all evil. Then you got to weigh it and put it together to understand what it means. Do it mean that you ain't supposed to have nothing? No. But we have these policies that was set up, as I let y'all listen to, with the 94 crime bill. And I remember they was doing stop and frisk. And so they was just any random so-called Negro. They amped it up too. And there's news broadcastings of them amping it up. And like I told y'all the last time I was on here, there's also people that actually confessed that they was doing that just to attack so-called black people. They weren't doing that to help us. So stop and frisk, um, three strike law, all that, the whole law of America was set up to go against black people. So they say the 94 crime bill, all of it was set up to attack so-called black people. Every last piece of it, all the way down to the weed, because the Maroons, I mean, they dealt with marijuana. The Maroons, you look on the Dancing with Wolves movie, they called it the peace pipe. So who that was that had weed? So y'all see the situation right here. Everything, even with our brothers and sisters when they first started doing music, um, they would get some artists off of the block from selling music out of their trunk, making way more money. That did a study. I think MC Hammer was making way more money selling out of his trunk. And when he got that record deal, you see what I'm saying? So the music, the catalog was sold. Then you had BET. So you would think that you having this coverage, but that's not how things operate. You know what I mean? You did better having independence. You know what I mean? But think about this right here. Right after Jim Crow, right after Jim Crow, we get the war on drugs. When the Panther Party had started feeding the children and did a protect the children program because the police brutality. So when you see that right there, if you watch, then you see they put crack They gave them crack. They was selling crack. Look at. I want y'all to go back and watch the Black Panther movie. They gave them crack. That was COINTELPRO. Actually, uh, the person that worked with COINTELPRO has a confession video. The crack, all of that was to disband the Panther Party. All right, that's where you get people from that generation that came out. Now, where you see people that you like to listen to. You know what I mean? On 90s radio and all that right there. So what I'm trying to explain is that all of the policies that people say I'm proud to have, you got to realize that this is the reason. Did you know that the first time it snowed in Florida is when they remove a cap off of rent? The first year it snowed in Florida, they removed the cap off of the rent, which means that they can throw the rent up however high they want to throw it. Now, just because it affected us, then it affected everybody else. See, the only thing um, that the other people had is telling them that they better than us, right? Because of the color of their skin, and gave them specific jobs like being a fireman or being a police or different stuff. They wanted you to be a slave catcher, to catch runaway slaves, to catch the Seminoles, to put them back in the plantation for free labor. So that's why that group that was set up during the time of slavery, uh, in the 1500s, that nobody talks about, before the establishment of the United States of America, where you get the Confederate flag from. During that time, the Europeans had set up a what did they call that thing? When all of them came together and they had their guns, and they didn't want Negroes to bear arms in the military. That's where you get the gun laws from. All of the laws in America was established some way to affect you in a negative way. So how you get the gun laws in America? By the Negro, by the runaway slave. All right. So the slaves, the freedmen that's on the plantations, how to get the freedmen to be back into chains again, to work for free labor in the plantation and in the private prisons. You got to get them to break these black codes. All right. That's why when the European person go in, they ain't got to stay in there for the same time you do. If you go in there, um, they could turn the traffic violation into, I thought he tried to do something to me. Either you're gonna be taken up out of here, and the prison won't have to, you won't have to get fed that way. You know, the people that embalm your body and stuff, they got to pay for. See what I'm saying? And I remember there was a story that was out um, when I was in Polk County. There was a story out about um, somebody, a part of our family on my grandmama's side, how because his daddy owned a funeral home, right? And he also owned the apartments over there that they changed the name to some other kind of name. It's right beside the cemetery, but it's on 10th Street. But they changed the name of the apartments over there to something else, something point or something I can't remember. But there was a big old sign in the front, looked like three cut logs in an artistic way, that had Holmes Villa on there. So those apartments that's beside the cemetery, those were called Holmes Villa, right beside Tangerine Circle, where my homeboy used to stay at on Tangerine. My other homeboy stayed on Lemon. So I had friends all across Polk County. That's where I grew up at. The white side was across the train tracks. The train tracks was built by the slaves who did free labor. The part where I stayed, Haines City, It was called clay cut because that's where the slave master would bring the slaves that knew how to um, do ironsmithing and all type of stuff, like jobs like that. They were very skilled workers. Nobody taught the people that was brought over here how to do nothing. They brought them over here and they did this stuff out of force. So anyway, all these laws were surrounded around controlling the slaves. Okay, even the historians say that the plantations and the whole diaspora was set up to contain the slaves. All right, to control the slaves. So what I'm saying, fam, is that when they passed the 94 crime bill, that was not passed for the benefit of the people who are descendants of slaves who call themselves FBA and Afro and Crayola crayons. Okay? It was established to maintain and control the slaves. Anytime the preacher on the plantation used to preach, I'm telling you about policies, there was always somebody there to watch him, to oversee him. All right? When the doctor was pushed enough, now that you free, and now, we're not control you that way. We're going to control you by making you do what we want you to do, by making sure you stay in poverty, by making sure that times is scarce for you, right? Where you can't hardly maintain and make it. And a person wouldn't even blame a dog that was tied up, that was hungry, for wrenching down and chewing on the grass to relieve his pain. But a person that is see that the dog tied up on the chain, the dog malnutrition, I would make it where the dog, if I hated this dog and I made income off of this dog, and I know the person that got this dog tied up on the chain in poverty, then what I do is uh, when I put food down there, I only give him but so much that he can survive on. And then what I do is that when he eat the grass, something that dogs eat for their stomach to help their food digest. When the dog eat the grass, then that's a fine. So that means you're not gonna eat, right? You're not gonna eat if you don't hunt. If you don't hunt and don't eat none of the meat, if you don't hunt and you still gonna be chained up on chain, one chain, sit, lay, stay, they just gonna continue to put new charges on this dog. Our puppies, they gonna take them dogs, the puppies from that dog, and sell it to their friends. So that dog got puppy. So now this dog owner, he want to treat the dog more freer. So he'll let the dog run around in the cage a little bit. That's the preacher. He'll let the dog run around in the cage a little bit, you know, let him feel free. And then when he come around, get of age and come around and see the other dogs that's the same breed as he is, he was taught that he not like them dogs. You know, he a big dog. Anytime you call a preacher or anybody that's in the, when you call him a big dog, like the preacher said on Watch Them Dogs. Anytime a brother won't get mad, but if you call him, he'll get mad if you call him a dog. But if you call him a big dog, he don't get mad about that. Alright? So the big dog on the plantation, they get to run around in the yard a little bit, get to eat a little bit meat off of the table, to get to, run around at the park a little bit. The other dog, they can't do that. They locked down. And then you have other dogs that's inside of crates. So there's different levels of how the dogs is contained. And then you have people that don't own no dog, but their job is to go around and to make sure that they eat the grass. If you eat the grass, it's going to give them a ticket. gonna go and give it to the house, to the house master. He gonna give him a ticket. That's Karen the house master. Give him a ticket. So all what I'm telling you, fam, all these things are intricately set up. And anytime a person don't set up rules to protect somebody that's been hurt, that mean they ain't free yet. That means you still in bondage and in captivity. You just don't see it as captivity because we've been in the other form of captivity for so long. If you've been on the captivity for so long, where you was just picking cotton, now they got multiple things you could do. Cotton, you know, even the drug dealers, they was selling the drug that where the money went. Okay, when they got busted, where the money went. So all when I'm telling you, all of it is a big business. Do they care about you? Cause and Joe Biden came back in once his son got caught up. Now all of a sudden we gonna make it legal. So now it's illegal. His son ain't got to do no time. Everybody happy. Wada bing, wada boom. And the people that sold weed because they ain't have no jobs out there, yeah, they put them in jail, let them serve their time. 3 scracks, you out. You get locked up. If you get caught 3 times, you out. So that's what they was doing. They was locking up people for doing things to feed their family. And other people were saying this is family owned, be it denied for loans, denied for grants. Even the soldiers that fought for the America, when they came back over, denied, loans. The FHAs denied everything. Black Wall Street was burnt down. When they came back, Black Wall Street was burnt down. Okay, Jacksonville got burnt down. Did y'all know that? There's a lot of towns that was buried underwater. Y'all remember Penny Proud? Jacksonville was buried underwater. So that's how it was. I reckon they trying to say how it was in that town that was buried underwater. Oscarville. Oscarville. That a whole city was buried underwater. But how did they get along? La Cienega and the European girl, everybody, right? And the whole town was buried underwater because of an accusation from one woman that lied. So when y'all think about those towns being buried, don't think of them as somebody that's not you. Think of it like this. Oscar was out there. Judy, Trudy, Big Mama, all of them. And one person lied, and all that was burnt down and then covered over underwater to cover up evidence. The ships. Evidence was being tampered with, destroyed, but you the one getting locked up. So I'm gonna leave it like that, fam. Not telling you to go and do nothing wrong. I'm telling you why people did what they did. I'm not telling you, but that's why they did what they did. So you gotta understand, like my daddy them used to say, don't judge a man unless you walk the mile in their shoes. Unless you walk a mile in a man's shoes, you can't judge him. And that's all I want to say. I'm finna get up off of here. I put the information up there as told by my wife and a couple of y'all why I don't have no donation key. If you would like to donate, you want to rewind the video back and click on the donate key, you can. It'll help me to be able to make more music, and also to do some of the other things. Y'all let me know what some of the things y'all want to be done on the channel, and I'll try to incorporate it and get it done. So I'm finna go ahead and drop up off of here. I thank Yahweh for the opportunity to be able to come up on here and speak to y'all. But I'm about to go, fam. I want to say shalom. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Loud extra. Loud extra. Loud extra. me to be. Your power, please have mercy on me. Your power, please have mercy